Silence. That may be the most mysterious clue in the entire universe. For more than 100 years, scientists have searched the sky, looking deeper into space than ever before. They have discovered black holes that bend light, galaxies billions of light years away, and ancient radiation left behind by the birth of the cosmos. Yet one question refuses to disappear. Was the Big Bang truly the beginning of everything, or was it only the beginning of our chapter in a much larger story? Most people grow up believing that the universe suddenly appeared from nothing about 13.8 billion years ago. It sounds simple. The Big Bang happened, space expanded, stars formed, planets appeared, and eventually life began. But modern physics has revealed that reality is far more mysterious than that familiar picture. A growing number of scientists have asked a bold question that once sounded impossible. What if another universe existed before ours? Even more surprising, what if that earlier universe did not vanish without leaving a trace? What if tiny clues from a time before our own universe are still hidden around us today, waiting to be understood? This idea may sound like the beginning of a science fiction movie, but it is actually connected to real scientific research. Some of the world's most respected physicists have spent years exploring models that suggest our universe may not be the first. Instead, it could be one cycle in an endless cosmic sequence. According to these ideas, the universe may go through repeated stages of birth, growth, collapse, and rebirth. If that is true, then the Big Bang was not the absolute beginning. It was simply the moment our universe opened its eyes. The story itself may have started long before that. The most surprising part is that scientists are not just thinking about these possibilities, they are actively searching for evidence. They are studying the oldest light in the universe, looking for tiny patterns that should not exist if the traditional story is complete. Some researchers believe these patterns could be nothing more than random fluctuations. Others wonder if they are the faint fingerprints of a universe that existed before our own. No one knows the answer yet. That uncertainty is exactly what makes this mystery so fascinating. Throughout history, many ideas once considered impossible eventually became accepted science. People once believed Earth stood at the center of the universe. They believed time moved the same for everyone. They believed space was empty and unchanging. Every one of those beliefs turned out to be incomplete. Today, another possibility stands before us. Perhaps our understanding of the beginning of everything is also incomplete. If another universe truly existed before ours, it would change far more than astronomy textbooks. It would completely reshape the way we think about time, creation, reality, and even our own existence. It would mean that the history of the cosmos stretches far beyond the moment we currently call the beginning. It would also raise one extraordinary question. If another universe came before ours, could it have left behind a message? Not a message written in words or symbols, but one hidden inside the very structure of reality itself. A message written in light. A message written in mathematics. A message carried across billions of years through the fabric of space. This idea sounds almost unbelievable, yet it has inspired serious scientific investigations that continue even today. Some researchers have searched the ancient glow left behind by the early universe, hoping to find unusual patterns that might reveal traces of an earlier cosmic age. Others have developed theories suggesting that information may survive in ways we still do not fully understand. None of these ideas have been proven, and many remain strongly debated. That is one of the most important parts of this story. Science does not move forward by pretending to know every answer. It moves forward by asking difficult questions and testing bold ideas against evidence. In this video, we are going to explore those questions step by step. We will begin with what scientists actually know about the Big Bang and why it became the leading explanation for the origin of our universe. Then we will discover why many physicists believe the story may not end there. You will learn about remarkable theories that suggest our universe could have emerged from an older one. You will see why some researchers think the oldest light in space might contain clues from a time before the Big Bang. We will explore how strange patterns in the universe continue to puzzle scientists, and why even the smallest discovery could completely change our understanding of reality. Along the way, we will separate established science from scientific hypotheses so you can clearly understand which ideas are supported by strong evidence and which remain possibilities that researchers are still investigating. By the end of this journey, you may find yourself looking at the night sky in a completely different way. The stars above us may no longer seem like the beginning of the story. They may simply be the latest page in a book that has been written across countless cosmic ages. The biggest surprise is that this mystery is not just about distant galaxies or events that happened billions of years ago. It is about one of the deepest questions humanity has ever asked. Where did everything come from? And what if the answer is far more extraordinary than anyone expected? Stay with us until the very end, because the final idea we will explore could completely change the way you think about the origin of the universe and the possibility that our cosmos is carrying echoes from a reality that existed long before our own. Welcome to the channel, where we explore the greatest mysteries of science and the universe in a simple and thought-provoking way. If you enjoy discovering ideas that challenge the limits of human knowledge, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and join us as we begin one of the most fascinating journeys modern physics has to offer. For most of modern history, the story of the universe has seemed surprisingly clear. Nearly every science book begins with the same moment. Around 13.8 billion years ago, the universe suddenly began expanding from an incredibly hot and dense state. In that first instant, space started stretching. Time began moving forward. Matter and energy filled the growing universe. Over millions and billions of years, tiny particles joined together to form atoms. Atoms gathered into enormous clouds of gas. Gravity pulled those clouds together until the first stars burst into life. Those stars created heavier elements inside their burning cores. When they exploded, they scattered those elements across space, making future stars, planets, and eventually life possible. Every galaxy we see today, every planet that circles a distant star, every mountain, ocean, tree, and every person alive is believed to be part of that same incredible story. The Big Bang became one of the greatest scientific achievements because it explains many observations with remarkable accuracy. The expansion of galaxies, the abundance of light elements, and the faint glow that fills the universe all fit together in ways that strongly support this picture. For decades, it has been the foundation of modern cosmology. But there is one question that quietly waits behind all of this. A question that is simple enough for a child to ask, but difficult enough that even the world's greatest physicists still debate it today. What caused the Big Bang? If everything had a beginning, what started that beginning? If space and time suddenly appeared, what made that happen? These questions sound natural because we spend our entire lives surrounded by causes and effects. A seed becomes a tree. A spark starts a fire. A falling rock leaves a mark on the ground. Every event seems connected to something before it. Our minds are trained to expect that nothing simply happens without a reason. Yet when we reach the beginning of the universe, this familiar way of thinking suddenly breaks down. Scientists can describe what happened a tiny fraction of a second after the Big Bang with incredible detail. They can calculate how matter cooled, how galaxies formed, and how the universe evolved over billions of years. But the closer they look toward the first instant itself, the more the equations begin to lose their certainty. Physics reaches a point where its current understanding can no longer give complete answers. That is where one of the greatest mysteries in science begins. Was the Big Bang truly the first event that ever existed? Or was it itself the result of something even older? If it really was the beginning of everything, why do so many scientists continue searching for what came before it? Why are new theories still being developed? Why are powerful telescopes still collecting data that might reveal clues from an earlier cosmic age? The fact that these questions remain active areas of research tells us something important. The story may not be finished yet. At first, asking what happened before the Big Bang may sound like a perfectly reasonable question, but according to many physicists, the question itself may contain a hidden mistake. The reason is surprisingly simple. Time may not have existed before the Big Bang. We often picture time as a long road that stretches endlessly in both directions. We imagine walking backward into the past until we finally reach the beginning. But what if the road itself begins at the Big Bang? In that case, asking what happened before, it would be like asking, what is north of the North Pole? The question sounds meaningful, yet the place it refers to may not exist. According to this view, time itself started when the universe began. There was no earlier moment because there was no time in which an earlier moment could exist. This idea is difficult to accept because our brains never experience life without time. Every memory we have is arranged from past to present. Every decision points towards the future. We naturally assume time has always been there, but nature does not always follow human intuition. Many discoveries in physics have already shown that reality behaves in ways that seem impossible at first. Time slows down near massive objects. Time passes differently for astronauts moving at high speed. Space itself can stretch across the universe. If those ideas are real, perhaps the beginning of time is not as impossible as it first appears. Yet not every scientist agrees with this picture. Other researchers believe the Big Bang was not the creation of time, but a dramatic transition from an earlier state of the cosmos. In their view, time did not suddenly appear. It continued through the Big Bang, just as a river continues flowing, even after passing through a waterfall. The waterfall changes everything about the water's appearance, but it does not create the river itself. In the same way, the Big Bang may have transformed an older universe into the one we see today. If that is true, then our universe may have a history that stretches far beyond what we currently observe. Suddenly, the impossible question becomes meaningful again. If another universe existed before ours, could any evidence have survived the transition? This possibility has inspired some of the most fascinating ideas in modern cosmology. One of them is known as the Cyclic Universe. According to this hypothesis, the universe does not experience only one beginning and one ending. Instead, it may go through an endless sequence of cosmic ages. The universe expands for billions of years, reaches a final stage, and then another cycle begins. Each new universe grows from the remains of the previous one, continuing a process that may have repeated countless times. Another idea is called the Big Bounce. Instead of everything starting from absolute nothingness, this model suggests that an older universe slowly collapsed under its own gravity. As it became smaller and denser, it eventually reached an extreme state where collapse turned into expansion. Rather than ending forever, the universe bounced back, creating the Big Bang that gave birth to our own cosmic era. In this picture, our universe is not the first. It is simply the latest bounce in an unimaginably long chain of cosmic history. Then there is an even more unusual proposal known as Conformal Cyclic Cosmology. This idea suggests that the distant future of one universe and the beginning of the next may be connected in a surprising way. After trillions upon trillions of years, when almost all matter has disappeared and only radiation remains, the universe could gradually become mathematically similar to the incredibly hot conditions that existed at the beginning of another Big Bang. According to this model, each universe naturally gives rise to the next, without requiring a completely separate beginning. These ideas are exciting because they offer possible answers to questions that have puzzled scientists for generations. But it is extremely important to remember that they remain scientific hypotheses. They are based on mathematics, observations, and physical reasoning, yet none has been confirmed beyond doubt. Scientists continue testing these models because evidence must always come before certainty. Even so, these theories open an extraordinary possibility. If one universe became another, could anything pass from one cosmic age into the next? Could even the smallest trace survive the death of an entire universe? Finding the answer requires evidence, and that is exactly what scientists have been searching for. They know they cannot simply invent stories about earlier universes. Every idea must leave measurable fingerprints. That search leads to one of the oldest objects humans can observe, the cosmic microwave background. This faint glow fills every direction in space. It is often described as the oldest light in the universe because it has been traveling toward us for nearly the entire history of cosmic time. It is a snapshot of the universe when it was only about 380,000 years old, long before stars and galaxies fully formed. To most people, it may look like a random map of tiny temperature differences. But to cosmologists, it is an enormous record of the early universe. Every small variation contains information about conditions that existed billions of years ago. Some researchers have wondered whether this ancient light might preserve clues from an even older reality. They have searched for unusual circles, unexpected temperature patterns, and strange features that standard models do not easily explain. A few studies have suggested possible anomalies that might fit certain theories involving previous universes. Others argue that these patterns can be explained by ordinary statistical fluctuations. The debate continues because the evidence is extremely difficult to interpret. Small changes in data processing can affect the results. Different scientists reach different conclusions. That is how real science works. Ideas are challenged, tested, questioned, and improved over many years. No responsible physicist claims that another universe has already been discovered. But the search itself continues because the possibility remains scientifically interesting enough to investigate with better observations and more advanced models. Even if another universe once existed, another puzzle immediately appears. How could any information survive such an enormous event? Galaxies disappear, stars explode, entire cosmic structures are destroyed over time. If a universe truly ended, why would anything remain? This question brings us to one of the deepest ideas in modern physics. Information may be more fundamental than we once believed. In everyday life, information seems simple. It is the words in a book, the files on a computer, or the memories inside your mind. But in physics, information describes the complete state of physical systems. Over many decades, scientists have discovered that information plays a surprisingly important role in understanding nature. Studies involving black holes have led to intense debates about whether information can ever be completely destroyed. Many physicists now believe that the laws of quantum mechanics strongly suggest information cannot simply vanish, even if its form changes beyond recognition. This does not prove that information from a previous universe could survive into ours, but it raises an intriguing possibility. Perhaps tiny traces could cross the boundary between cosmic ages, not as books or messages written by intelligent beings, but as subtle physical patterns embedded in the structure of reality itself. No experiment has confirmed this idea. No observation has settled the debate. Yet researchers continue exploring the question because answering it could reveal entirely new laws of nature. If information really can outlive an entire universe, then the history of reality may be much longer and far richer than anyone once believed. That leads to one final mystery. If there truly is a message from an earlier universe, what would it actually look like? Many people picture hidden codes or mysterious signals waiting to be decoded. Science suggests something much subtler. Physicists are not expecting words, symbols, or deliberate communication. They are searching for physical fingerprints, tiny mathematical patterns, unusual distributions of energy, slight irregularities hidden inside the oldest observable light, small details that should not exist if our universe began completely isolated from everything else. The message, if it exists at all, would not be written by intelligence. It would be written by the laws of physics themselves. Every ripple would tell part of an older story. Every unexplained pattern could become a clue pointing toward a reality that existed before our own. If convincing evidence were ever discovered, cosmology would change forever. The Big Bang would no longer represent the absolute beginning of everything. Our universe would become one chapter in a far larger cosmic history. Questions about creation would become questions about endless transformation. The idea of beginnings and endings would need to be reconsidered from the ground up. Humanity would no longer see itself living in the first universe, but perhaps in one of countless generations stretching across unimaginable spans of time. That possibility reaches far beyond astronomy. It changes the way we think about existence itself. It reminds us that the greatest breakthroughs often begin with questions that once sounded impossible, and history has shown again and again that today's impossible question can become tomorrow's accepted science. Before we finish, return to the question that started this journey. Was the Big Bang truly the beginning of everything, or was it simply the beginning of our universe? Right now, no one can answer that with complete certainty. Maybe our universe is the first chapter ever written, or maybe it is only one page in a story that has no beginning and no end. Somewhere within the oldest light in the cosmos, there may be tiny clues left behind by a universe that existed long before ours. Or those clues may never be found at all. That is the beauty of science. It does not promise easy answers. It keeps asking better questions, building better instruments, and looking deeper into reality than ever before. Every new telescope, every new observation, and every new discovery brings us one step closer to understanding where we came from and whether our cosmic story began long before the moment we call the Big Bang. The most fascinating part is that if scientists ever discover convincing evidence of a universe before ours, it would not just change one chapter of science. It would completely transform the way we think about time, creation, existence, and our place in the cosmos. The greatest discovery in human history might not be finding another planet filled with life or another galaxy beyond our reach. It might be realizing that the universe has been carrying echoes of an older reality all along, hidden in plain sight, waiting for us to understand them. Perhaps the message was never meant to be read like a sentence. Perhaps it was always written into the very fabric of space, waiting billions of years for curious minds to ask the right questions. So now the question belongs to you. Do you think our universe is the very first one, or do you believe it could be part of an endless cycle stretching far beyond anything we can imagine? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective could start an incredible discussion with others who are just as curious about the mysteries of the universe. If you enjoyed this journey and want to explore more of the biggest questions in science, space, and reality, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next exploration. And if you think someone else would love this mystery, share this video with them. Until next time, keep looking up, keep asking impossible questions, and remember that every great discovery begins with the courage to wonder whether everything we believe today is only part of a much bigger story.